Well, I appreciate everybody coming here. It's nice for you to do this. Nick?
Mm-hmm.
And you are, don't tell me, 8?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jim? 10? Your mom? It's Christy, and I'm not going to ask her how old she is because that's not polite for adults to do that. I really do want to say that I think that it's always hard to try and make things better in life when you're struggling with something. But I think it's especially hard. It takes a lot of courage doing what you're doing, you know, with the cameras and this sort of thing. And I think that's impressive. Let me explain just a little bit about how this will work, and we'll take it from there. Basically, you're going to need to teach me some things about what's happening so that I can catch up with you. And I need to learn some things, so I'll have to ask you some questions. Okay, I'll be firing a lot of questions to you, and I really appreciate you answering those so that you can teach me what's happening so that I can be of use to you, so that maybe we can work together and think about some ideas on how to turn some things around, okay? Start things and move things in the direction you want them to move. All right?
Okay.
I can't remember everything in my head, so if it's okay with you, now and then as we talk, I might jot some notes down to help me remember what we've talked about. Is that all right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay? Because I can't keep it all in my head and remember it. So maybe I need something to put the notepad on. Can you guys help me move this this table over here? Now we got water here too. You got it over there, Nick? Are you guys?
Jimmy, you can hold those up, but we can
I'll let you go. I'm in your way.
Okay.
Well done. Well
What's
done.
the water for?
Well, if you guys want a drink, and surprise, here's one, or we could play checkers with the. No, I'm just kidding. That wouldn't be really good. Now, I told you I need your help, so I need you to help me understand what's going on right now that you would like to change. Okay, so I'll just maybe start. Hey, I'll go left to right like they do sometimes. So Nick, tell me something that you would like to see changed.
Me bringing my homework in.
You bringing your homework in. Bringing your homework in where?
To school.
Is it all of your homework or just certain assignments?
Sometimes I forget to
Okay.
bring them.
Oh, you forget to bring them to school. Okay. So you want that to change. You want to bring them more. Okay.
Because last year when I was in school, I hardly even brought them.
Oh, you hardly.
Right, Mom?
You hardly.
You have all the answers, Nick.
You hardly brought them. Is that accurate? Pretty much.
Well, he's giving everyone the assumption that he actually brings them home and does them and just doesn't bring them back. Nick can't remember to bring them home.
Oh, so there have been times in the past where he hasn't actually brought them home in the first place. Okay, so you'd like to bring the homework in more. Why? What's the big deal about homework?
Because if I get 5 homework alerts and I don't get to watch a movie, but we don't really watch a movie anymore.
So, but you still want to bring homework in more to school. So even if you don't get to watch a movie, that's still important to you to bring the homework in? Why is that? Well, and you don't have to have a reason, but I just wondered. That's pretty neat because I meet some people your age that say, homework, schmomework. You know, they don't care. You know, they don't care about
My
that.
brother hates homework.
Oh, does he? How many people do you know that really really love homework? Like the people that say, I live for homework. Homework is my life. I love homework more than watching Boy Meets World. Do you know? I don't know. Have you met anybody like that? You know some people like that?
The only one I know is Melanie
Ah,
and Shannon.
okay. The homework meisters? Okay. But how many, is that you think most people just love homework or not, or they really don't like homework? I mean, if you had to group people, would most of them be over here in the, I don't like homework too much? Or would most of them be in
I
the,
think most people don't like homework.
what do you think, Jim?
Same thing.
Okay. Most people don't like homework. I just wondered what you thought. You know, it's been a while since I've been in school. Now, I work in some schools, but I'm not a student in school anymore. So I just wanted to check you guys out to see if that was still the deal. Because that's how it was when I went to school. Most people just said, homework.
Homework.
Well, yeah, depending on who they were. And some of them said homework,
Did you like
schmomework.
homework?
No, I didn't like homework.
Neither did I. So you're keeping up with
I'm
one of
over
them.
here. I'm with this group. I'm like over
There's
here.
only about like 3 people over here.
So are you guys both over here on the homework thing?
I hope my mom is.
All right. Well, hey, so you would like to bring in more homework, okay? Jim, what would you like to see changed?
My teacher.
You're a teacher. What is it that you'd like to see changed about your teacher?
I'd like to change and I have her as a teacher.
Okay. How possible is that going to be?
I have no
if
clue.
have you gone in and tried telling them, change my teacher? No. You think they do that?
No.
Okay. Do you think somehow you could actually make your teacher change?
No.
Have you ever thought of that?
No.
Would you be interested a little bit later? I'm not quite ready to get into that now, but would you be interested before we leave in some ways that some other students have actually changed their teacher? I don't mean changed them like magic made them from Mrs. Smith to Mr. Jones, but I mean they've actually,
The same teacher but nicer.
yeah, they've actually they've sort of changed the
Like,
teacher by changing
can
themselves.
change my
That's what they
teacher.
say, no homework forever.
Yeah.
I know that's what you would say.
So maybe we can get into that in a little bit, you think? Maybe?
I can't change my teacher.
Okay. All right. Well, if you can't change your teacher, then is there something else that you'd like to see changed, Jim?
The other thing I wanted to change
Hang on a
is
second.
writing.
I want to hear this, but first I just want to give Jim a chance. Okay. Thank you. I want to hear this. All right. Would you be willing to, because we have a few minutes here, would you be willing to work towards helping Nick bring homework in?
Can't. We don't go to the same school.
Oh no, I just mean with ideas. Like, are you willing to sort of throw around some ideas if you have them? Then you can sort of share them.
I got an idea.
What's that?
He can write, bring your homework in on my forehead, and when I look in the mirror, I see it.
Oh, well, that's a thought. What else? You started to tell me something. You said another thing I wanted to change. Thank you for waiting too. I appreciate that.
No more fighting.
No more fighting. Tell me about fighting.
Because me and Jim would fight a lot. We'd act like we were wrestlers.
That's what brothers are for.
And G just said, that's what brothers are for.
Okay, but you
we
want to?
accidentally put a hole in the wall.
Oh, by fighting? One of you fall into the wall or something
Jimmy
like that?
pushed me. Jimmy was holding me like this, and I went into the wall. There was a little crack right there.
Yeah. Okay. So you'd like to fight less and bring in more homework. All right. Now, let me check with Mom. Okay. What would you like to see changed?
She wants to change her life.
Well, I'm
Got a
asking,
magic wand?
but I'm asking her. Well, let's
Obviously, Nick knows my biggest problems. Homework, that basically with the two of them is terrible. And the fighting.
Homework
That's all
and
they do is
fighting.
fight.
And you want to change your life about that.
Homework and fighting. Okay. Well. So you agree on the focus, which will save us some time, because sometimes I work with families that it takes 3 or 4 weeks of meetings, like you meet maybe 3 or 4 times to even come together and decide on what to work on. So that's saying something. What are some things that you've tried? What are some things that you've tried along these lines to help improve? And you may just want to pick one of them. Maybe either one. Which one, do you want to do homework?
Well, we tried pure torture. When they fight and I hear them, they have to sit for 10 minutes and hug each other. They usually cry, scream, and yell hysterically through the ordeal, but we've tried that.
Okay.
And it works.
All right.
That works for about a day.
Okay. What else?
Homework, that's a lost cause.
Oh, and 3 homework.
It used to be where they'd come home from school last year. They'd have time to have their snack, relax for a little while, do whatever they're going to do, watch little TV, and then we'd do homework. That didn't work. We were still doing homework at 9 o'clock at night last year.
Okay.
So now, as soon as they come home from school, they're allowed to get a snack, and then they have to start their homework. Well, this is where all the lying comes in. Because now we're in too big of a hurry to go outside and play, or too much of a hurry to lay down and watch TV, or we're just done with school for the day and don't really care to learn anything else. So we either lie, don't bring it home, or I don't know what they do with it. I really don't.
So, of the two things, knowing that we've got, I know you've got some time, with Kim and so on, but we've got maybe another 30 minutes of those two things, the fighting and the homework. Which one would you guys prefer to focus on? Well, that's the first one. Are you okay with homework?
Yes.
Okay, very good. We agree on something else. I don't take that for granted. Way to go. Now, if I ask you any questions that you're uncomfortable asking, did I say that? Did you make me say that? Did you hear what I said? If I ask any questions that you're uncomfortable answering, just don't answer them, okay? And I'm just curious, as far as this is who's at home, right? Any other you guys? Any other brothers?
No,
and
there's no
sisters?
other siblings.
Okay. So single mom?
Another sister. But that.
But Ashley does not live with us.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering who those. So you're doing the single mom thing. Wow.
This.
Excuse me just a second. You know what that is? That's the antenna for this thing they got us hooked up with. Okay, so that's no problem. Yeah, you can just
Flip it under my leg.
that'll work. How do you manage? How do you manage to hang in there as a single mom? I know that's difficult. I obviously don't know what that's like firsthand, but I've certainly learned a lot by working with some people who have taught me that can be just extremely challenging to say the least. But here you are. You're working on trying to change things. What has prevented you from just giving up on things at this point?
We all do what we must. Push on, little soldier. I don't know, I'm a very strong-willed person.
So that helps you just keep on hanging in there with this?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's hard work. Okay. Now, this may seem like a kind of a different sort of a question. If there was a miracle that occurred, like just like that while you guys were sleeping tonight, and this homework thing, this homework problem just vanished completely. Tell me, what would be different about life right when you woke up, on through the school day, into the evening? Okay? Jim, thank you for raising your hand. That's a good organized way to do it here.
I raise my hand and then I poke myself in the eye.
Poke yourself in the eye. Well, you all right? Okay. So tell me, this miracle happened. The homework problem is gone, vanished. How would you know this miracle occurred when you got up the next morning? Tell me what things would, what would be different about the next
Because
day?
I'd be happy.
You would be happy? Okay.
I'd just say it'd be another miracle.
You'd be happy.
I'd be very happy. I wouldn't have to do my homework anymore if I was that smart.
Well,
100 IQ. I'd be really wanting that.
if I
Could you please speak the right way?
if I had a video camera and I was watching after the miracle happened, then what would I see? What would I see different? What would I see different in the morning? And Mom, jump in. Also, how would the morning be different?
The morning wouldn't be different.
Okay. How about school? And maybe I'll kick that to
Homework?
yeah.
If you didn't have any problems with your homework, Nick, how would that be? How would your school day go?
What would be different about it?
Great.
How would your teacher treat you different if you did all your homework and handed it in? This
Normal.
miracle. And what would normal look like? What would,
Just the same as the other kids.
which is, how does the teacher treat the other kids?
Nice.
What does she do or he do that's nice? Is it a she or a
She.
he? Okay. What does she do that's nice?
Because when we had homework, everybody got it wrong except 4 people, and she gave us suckers.
Okay.
And my mom said she was very proud of me.
Oh, you got a sucker that day. You did your homework that day?
Uh-huh.
Okay. What was different about that day when you did your homework?
I don't know. Because my mom helped me out.
Oh.
Just with that paper, and I only got 2 things to do today.
So when was that day that you? When's the last day that you turned a homework thing in, and you got it in on time?
That was probably the last. No, what, last year or this year?
Just this year, if you can think of one, just in the last few days or even weeks.
Did I bring my homework in?
That you did your homework, that you brought it in, or that you did a little more than usual?
I think it was yesterday.
Hmm.
That was the last day I had homework.
Yeah. What kind of homework was it? Was it math or reading
It
or
was spelling.
It was spelling.
And my mic fell.
Oh, here. Oh, your little cover on there. Can you get it on there? So what did you do different that time to get it? Is that the time your mom helped you, or?
Yeah.
Okay. What else is going to help you get homework done? Something you might do, or even something someone else might do.
I don't know.
Okay. Jim, this is where I need your help. What else do you think might help Nick turn homework in a little more regularly? Not perfectly, but just get a little bit better than it is now.
Put a note right at my face.
No.
Put a note right at my face saying, bring your homework in.
No,
Okay.
I'd put,
Well, I'll take Nick's idea now. I want to hear yours.
I'd put a little paper that said, for his teacher, that when she read it, it said read out loud, it said, Nick, turn in homework.
Oh. You'd put it around him? Or
I'd pin it to his shirt.
you'd pin it to his shirt?
And
Okay.
if I go in the mirror and I see it, I'd probably rip it off. Or, you know what he can do?
What else?
You can put notes all over the blankets. Do your homework. Bring it in. Do your homework. Bring it in. Do your homework. Bring it in.
Okay.
All over my face.
Okay, now I want you to imagine something. Okay. Just going to take using your imagination. You can close your eyes if you want. All right. You ready? You walk into your room after school.
Mm-hmm.
You have your backpack. You go into your room and you see on your bed about 10 of these Post-it notes. Okay?
I know what they're going to say. Bring
Yeah.
your homework in.
They say, first, they say, no, not when you come in from school. When you come in from school, they say, I'm gonna write one. Here's what they say on your bed. Ready?
Do your homework.
Okay. Okay, now you can go back into. But you don't really feel like doing your homework. You want to do something else instead of your homework. Like, now you stay with your eyes closed and don't answer this, because now I'm going to consult with Jim, okay? Because you would rather. What would he rather do, Jim? What would he rather do besides homework? Just give me an idea. You would rather play. Okay? So, that's called you've got a decision to make now. Now you can come out. Okay? Very good. All right. Nick, that's a hard decision you would have, isn't it? You could, what if there were, even if there were 12 notes, 20 notes, if there was a note pinned, if there was a note here, if there was a note on the bathroom mirror, everywhere you look there was a note. Okay, your life is a note. Jim turns into a note. Just one big note. He becomes
I am a big cleverino.
he becomes a human Post-it note, okay? Now, so your whole life, everywhere you look there's a note.
Even on a calendar.
Everywhere. Every single place you
And
look.
if he looks at me, I'm a big note too.
Okay, here's my question. That's still not going to get your homework done, is it?
Oh, yeah, it will. That'd annoy me.
But what has to happen between the time you see the note and you get your homework done?
I'd go right outside.
Well, so in other words, Do you have to do something? You have to do something with your hands to get homework done, don't you? Usually, do you usually have to use a paper and pencil or something like that
Sometimes
for
I do.
for certain homework? Like what? What kind of
like I
homework?
have to write 30 sentences, and which I really did.
Well, okay. So when you have to write sentences, do you ever have math homework?
Yeah.
All right. So in other words, you have to actually do something besides look at the note to get homework done. That's right.
Sometimes.
Okay. How else do you get homework done?
Mom just tells me to do my homework and I do it.
So how do you, I mean, do you do it, what works best for you? Sitting down at a table? Do you do your homework in a certain place?
I have to do it on the table because I look at the TV.
Okay. All right. But that works for you sometimes. Do it at the table.
And I sometimes do it in the front room and I don't really look at the TV.
Which one works better, looking at the TV or not looking?
Not looking
Why does that work better?
because I'll get my homework done faster.
I got you. Do you sometimes, does your homework period sometimes last a long time?
Yeah.
Does it sometimes go on? Does it seem like it goes on from the time you come home from school sometimes till even after supper?
No.
No. Okay. Mom, excuse me. Does homework sometimes spread into the evening times?
Homework is my third job.
Homework is your third job?
Yes.
And unpaid at that, huh?
Yes.
What have you found helpful? Even just a little bit helpful. It may not work all the time. In fact, it may usually not work. But have you found anything that just, no?
Well, they switch too. They switch personalities. So it's hard to tell who's who when you come home that day. So you never know how much trouble you're going to have. And it's usually the one with the most homework that's acting the worst.
You've worked with Kim. What kinds of things have you? I don't know if you focused on the homework or what kinds of things.
Not yet, no.
What kinds of things are you working on there? You guys jump in
They're
too.
about as motivated with their homework as they are about everything else.
Well, no, I just mean as far as the.
Yeah, actually, we're just working on trying to make him clean up after himself right now.
Oh, with the counseling. All right. And how's that working? On a scale of 1 to 100, 1 being absolutely not working at all, and 100 being exactly how you want it to be when things
I
get
was a
when
little
things get exactly how you want it to be.
The number 2 sticks in my head.
2. Okay. All right.
and the number 99 sticks in Mom's, I think. Because I was good one of that days. Because Jimmy, we had to clean the room. Jimmy didn't even clean it. He always kept up with excuse. I always clean it. And he made me clean it by myself, right, Mom?
Well, Nicholas, that's because you sleep with oatmeal bowls in your bed, even
No.
though you're not allowed to have food in your room.
No, I don't sleep on oatmeal bowls.
All right. Will you just leave that alone, please?
Sticking out.
Yeah, it does that sometimes.
Sticks out. Isn't that an imagination?
Hey, do you ever play? Do you ever see those games where it has a word? Do you ever play Hangman You know that game where you spell things like that? Well, this is going to be sort of a hangman game, except I'm going to stop and I'm going to let you finish the sentence. Okay? Okay, here it goes something like this. Like most families, my family's not perfect. But one little thing that I like about my family is that's where the hangman, fill in the blank. Let me ask you, Jim.
My brother.
Your brother? There's no right or wrong answers here.
Okay, what was the question again?
Yeah, I didn't think you heard that question.
It says, no family's perfect. My family's not perfect either. But one little thing that I like about my family is... Okay, scratch it.
Yeah.
How would you finish that one, Jim? One little thing I like about my family is...
My mom. I'd say my grandma too.
Miss Price?
They're mine.
What kinds of things? Let's just take a little jaunt out of the homework thing for a second, okay? Because I just trying to get to know you a little bit better. What kinds of things do you enjoy doing together? I know there's not a lot of time
Playing
because
catch.
school and all that.
Playing catch.
Playing catch, okay. Who do you play catch with, usually?
Dad.
Dad?
Mom plays basketball with us sometimes.
Basketball? Okay, uh-huh.
Only once a year.
Okay, what else do you enjoy doing together? Even things that you don't get a chance to do a lot, but these can be very small, just a couple minute things. And it doesn't have to be anything, dramatic or, like the Waltons or any of that Brady Bunch stuff or anything. I'm just talking about just some moments where it goes well and you enjoy doing them together.
They forgot the whole weekend thing.
Oh. On Friday, we always order Phil's pizza. And it's delicious.
It's the best pizza ever.
Not greasy and not chewy.
What kind do you get? What kind of pizza do you get?
Cheese,
Cheese?
sausage, and pepperoni.
Ooh. Does it come with different kinds of cheese, or like one kind of cheese and then sausage and pepper? Does everybody eat the same thing? No.
I'm a pepperoni eater.
You're a
I'm a
pepperoni
sausage
guy.
eater.
Sausage, okay.
He's a sausage and cheese. He's
Obviously, I'm the cheese eater.
You're the cheese, okay, gotcha. So
I'm
you
more of sausage than cheese.
you're more of a sausage guy, huh? More of a sausage than a cheese guy. I thought that when I saw you. The first time I saw you out there.
He looked
I
like
thought
a big sausage.
He looked like a sausage guy. No, I'm just kidding. I couldn't tell you were a sausage guy until you told me.
What do you think I was?
Nick, a guy watching Boy Meets World on TV. I'm really a smart person. Okay, tell me about how does this thing work? This is like a sort of a ritual on Fridays that you do?
Every Friday, we watch movies together. We have pizza. Every weekend, my children get up. I'm in the kitchen having coffee. They have to sit in my lap until they're fully awake. It takes at least 5 or 10 minutes.
And that's the time.
Since they were babies, they've done that. When they wake up, the first thing they do is climb in my lap. As big as they are now, they still do this.
Yeah?
And they
I
sit
don't
there
really.
until they're fully awake
I don't do that really anymore.
and can walk with their eyes completely open.
Okay, excuse me, I want to ask Mom something. And how is that time for you?
It's nice. They're quiet. Although I enjoy it a little better before they open their eyes, but it's not bad after.
How's that time for you guys?
She calls me a big left dog, though.
Slap rock.
So I'm gonna get back. Tell me about any other things like that that you do. It sounds like you have a couple rituals, and that's kind of neat because there's some families that don't have those kind of times. I mean, any moments like that. What other kinds of things kind of that special sort of time?
Chewy's turn.
No, anybody. You guys are doing real well. I'm serious. I'm asking you questions, and that's good. I appreciate your thinking
My
about
hands
these.
are cold.
10 more minutes.
Thanks for the cue. Neat. Are those things you think that you're going to continue as a family?
Oh, and you want to know my worst subject in my school? It's probably about like science and social studies and reading.
If you want more water, have mine.
Okay. Here, I'll pour some more in yours.
Science, social studies, and reading. It's a lot of that language arts stuff, huh?
And my worstest is spelling.
Can you tell by the way he speaks?
I can sing like a woman, I can sing like a boy, and I can sing, and I can almost act out Mickey Mouse. Hi, folks.
You have different talents, huh?
I can, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
How long have you been doing that? Is that something that just started, or?
I've been doing it since I was probably about like 7.
Let me ask you this. Do you ever feel like you're tired of hassling with all this homework and school stuff? Does it get old? Do you sometimes feel like it's almost this thing called the homework monster?
Oh yeah.
Does it feel like it's just sort of pushing you around sometimes?
Yeah, it
And
always does.
it always does.
But I get it finished. Better than cry to get it finished.
The homework monster sings just like you sing sometimes. Does the homework monster do... Does it do like, Nick, don't do homework, don't do homework, don't do homework? I mean, does it sometimes feel like it does? What about you, Jen?
No, there's no homework monster. I don't believe that anymore.
He doesn't even believe in the tooth fairy.
Nope.
You know what? I tell you what. I'm gonna suggest we do something. We just have a few minutes, but I'd like to take a really short break, maybe just 3 or 4 minutes. Okay. You guys can, you can stay here if you want to stand up or something like that. You you can keep the things on. You can talk about something we've talked about. I'm gonna break for about, as I said, maybe about 3 or 4 minutes. Help me gather my thoughts, because I told you I have to write things down. Sometimes I need to just stop and think about things. Okay? Okay, thanks for waiting, everyone. Thanks for waiting. I wanted to give you something that I wrote up. What I'm going to do is just read it, okay? And I'll leave a copy here.
Yes.
Yeah, you can look on with me. I'm impressed that you're trying very hard to make things better and that you have not given up. That takes courage and love. I also think it's very useful to you to keep the family rituals, like Friday pizza nights and the weekend wake-up time. Families that have these rituals are able to stick together during tough times better than families that don't have them. Maybe you could even add other such rituals as you think of them. On the homework, I urge each of you to pay attention to the times when homework is completed and turned in, and continue doing the things that seem to help get the homework done. The massive Post-it note campaign might also help. That's the thing we talked about, Post-it notes, reminders. The only way to know is try it. I'll be curious how things go with the homework, and I'll check with you and Kim next week to see how it's going. So I'm going to check with Kim to see how this homework thing is doing. I'm also wondering what else that the three of you will think of that make things better at home, with homework and other things. It's been a pleasure meeting you. You strike me as a family that's been through some tough times, but that cares very much for each other. You also appear to be a family that does not give up when things get tough. I wish you continued toughness along with the soft, warm times that you have together on pizza nights and wake-up times.
Dr. Jones, John, and Murphy.
Good. Now, do you have any questions or comments for me? I really do appreciate it. I'm gonna hand you that note, and I will check up. I don't want to be pesky, but I'll be very curious how things go the next
I want
week.
to see you again.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks very much.
This is
Nice
fun.
meeting you.
This was fun.
Oh, it was? Well, you know what's really going to be interesting is to see what happens with the homework and the fighting, to see if our conversation leads to any changes,
Are we
because
gonna come here again?
that's what it's all about. Well, no, you won't come here again with the cameras and such, but I know you'll be meeting with Kim, and she'll be working with you to help bring these changes out. And I'm going to be asking about the small changes that keep occurring.
4 things we need to get done. So check by check by check.
Well,
by
you
check.
can make a checklist if you want. You can take that letter and do what you want with it. And you can, if a checklist, if you think that would help, you can do that.
I can draw Captain Underpants.
Well, yeah, the three of you might want to talk about that, even on the way home, how you can try and keep some of this stuff, put some of these ideas in place. A lot of these ideas you've already started, like the rituals and the other things. Okay, see ya. Thank you.
Thanks.